Under the bright glare of the NFL spotlight, few rookies have carried the weight of expectations like Shador Sanders. Raised under the relentless guidance of his father, the legendary Deion Sanders, Shedeur entered the league with confidence already etched into his DNA. But with that confidence came controversy, as critics lined up to question every decision he made, especially his refusal to join the Baltimore Ravens when the opportunity was there. The Ravens are one of the league's crown jewels, a team stacked with talent and anchored by an MVP quarterback in Lamar Jackson. For most rookies, the chance to sit behind Lamar, learn from him, and develop within such a system would seem like a dream. But Shador didn't see it that way, and neither does former NFL star LeSean Shady McCoy. In fact, McCoy has emerged as one of Shador's loudest defenders, firing back at those who label Sanders arrogant or short-sighted. For McCoy, the logic is simple. "You ain't playing with Lamar," he argued bluntly. Shador could have joined the Ravens, yes, but he would have been buried behind one of the league's most dynamic players with no path to starting. And for a quarterback raised to believe he was destined to lead, that wasn't an option. Shador's confidence, McCoy explained, isn't arrogance. It's the natural product of his upbringing. A Sanders doesn't ride the bench. A Sanders believes in taking the field and proving himself as a starter. The critics have been harsh, though. Before the draft, Shedeur was hyped as a first-round lock, possibly even a top-5 pick. Then came the backlash, the doubts, the whispers that pushed him further down mock drafts until his stock slipped to the 5th round in some projections. But McCoy isn't buying that narrative. He sees the slide not as a reflection of Shador's talent, but as the byproduct of hate, scrutiny, and skepticism. In his eyes, Shador made the right choice by controlling his destiny, even if it meant passing on a prestigious franchise like Baltimore. McCoy didn't stop there. He put himself in Shador's shoes, breaking down the reality of the NFL. Why settle for a team where you know you'll never see the field? Why sit in the shadows when teams like the Saints, Giants, or Browns were all interested? Teams where the starting job isn't locked down for the next decade. For McCoy, the ambition of a true competitor lies in choosing the path to play, not the path to watch. And Sanders, he argued, did just that. This wasn't about disrespecting the Ravens. It was about knowing his worth. McCoy reminded fans that Shedeur wasn't just another quarterback entering the league. He was one of the most hyped prospects in years, a player whose college performances and charisma had made him a star long before draft day. When a player like that knows his value, standing firm and saying, "I won't play for that team," isn't arrogance. It's strategy. It's confidence born from preparation and ability, and McCoy wasn't alone in his defense. ESPN's Stephen A. Smith stepped up with the same conviction. For Stephen A., the backlash against Shedeur was overblown and misguided. He pointed out that Sanders had a 72% completion rate in college, a staggering number that proved his precision, poise, and ability to command an offense. With stats like that, it only made sense for him to seek a team where he could put those skills to use immediately. Sitting behind Lamar Jackson in Baltimore, or Josh Allen in Buffalo, or Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City would have wasted years of development and dulled his momentum. Stephen A. painted the picture clearly. This wasn't about Sanders avoiding competition. It was about being realistic. No young quarterback dreams of being stuck on the depth chart, holding a clipboard, hoping for an injury to their starter. That's not how careers are built. Instead, Shador chose the path that gave him a shot at real growth, with teams like Cleveland, where the quarterback situation was already shaky, or even with franchises like the Giants, where opportunities to step in are far more likely. Cincinnati was another team Stephen A. mentioned, pointing out Joe Burrow's recurring injuries. Had Sanders landed there, he might have found himself on the field sooner than expected. That's the kind of opportunity he needed, and the kind that shaped his decision. In short, Sanders wasn't running from a challenge. He was running toward his future. McCoy and Stephen A. also zeroed in on Cleveland, where Joe Flacco had inexplicably been brought back to lead the offense. For McCoy, it was a baffling choice. "This old guy hasn't been that great outside of maybe 1 or 2 seasons in his career," he scoffed, pointing out that rolling with Flacco did nothing to help the Browns' long-term future. Instead, it delayed the inevitable, the moment when a young quarterback like Shador Sanders or Dillon Gabriel would take control. McCoy's frustration was clear. Why waste valuable snaps on a veteran with no upside when you have the chance to develop the franchise's future right now? Even if Cleveland chose Gabriel over Shedeur, McCoy was fine with that, as long as it meant a young player was being groomed. In his view, both Gabriel and Sanders represented the future, while Flacco represented the past. Every week the Browns leaned on Flacco was another week lost, another opportunity squandered to prepare the next leader of the team. In the end, McCoy and Stephen A. delivered the same verdict. Shador Sanders made the right choice. Passing on the Ravens wasn't a mistake. It was a calculated move by a player who knew his value, knew his goals, and refused to settle for the sidelines. His path to success won't be easy, but it's one paved with intention and foresight. The critics may continue to question him, but time, they argue, will prove Sanders right. His college numbers, his talent, and his confidence all point toward a future where he isn't just on the field. He's thriving as a starter, leading an NFL franchise with the same swagger his father carried onto the gridiron. And for Cleveland fans, the message is even clearer. Joe Flacco might be the name on the jersey today, but he isn't the answer tomorrow. Whether it's Sanders or Gabriel, the Browns' future lies in the hands of young quarterbacks ready to seize the moment. The only question is how long the organization will wait before making the inevitable switch. So what do you think, fans? Did Shador Sanders make the right move by turning down the Ravens for a team that gives him a quicker path to the field? Should the Browns already be looking to hand the reins to Sanders or Gabriel instead of clinging to Flacco? And most importantly, do you believe Shedeur has what it takes to be the face of the Browns' future? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on the drama shaping the NFL's next generation of stars.